Over the last few days, like much of the world, Wreckwatch TV has been on Titanic watch, sharing the profound sense of sadness with the families of the fallen that has shaken the deep-sea exploration community to the core. Today, Wreckwatch has seen what's said to be the final log of the Titan submersible's last dive, as it was communicated live between the submersible and the Polar Prince support ship contracted by OceanGate Expeditions. The Polar Prince was taking a team of explorers out to the site of the Titanic, some 350 miles off the coast of Newfoundland in eastern Canada. Wreckwatch has contacted OceanGate for comment on the log's authenticity and advised OceanGate to make the families of the explorers aware of the public content. Wreckwatch has also reached out to deep-sea experts for feedback, which we'll share with you in a future film. As far as we can make out, through its timestamp, content, and technical detail, to all intents and purposes, the log appears to be authentic. This is what the log shows happened in the last hours of the Titan submersible's dive onto Titanic, the most famous shipwreck in the world. Titan began its descent at 7:52 AM Eastern Time on Sunday, June the 18th, 2023. After 15 minutes, it reached a depth of 756 meters. After 30 minutes, the sub told the Polar Prince, "We're in good shape." At 45 minutes, Titan had reached a depth of 1,934 meters. "Happy crew," the sub reported. After an hour, all was smooth sailing, and 50 minutes later, the explorers were still enjoying the ride. Everything was under control. But then Titan ran into trouble. 1 hour and 36 minutes into the dive, the sub observed an alarm from the RTM, or real-time monitoring system, at 9:28 AM. The hugely experienced and respected pilot, Paul-Henri Nargeolet, immediately reduced the sub's speed using its 2 horizontal and 2 vertical electric-powered thrusters. The sub was 3,433 meters under the northern Atlantic Ocean. Titan started to descend faster, so the decision was taken to release the ballast. Still, the sub continued to descend, so the team moved to jettisoning the landing frame below the dive chamber on which Titan stood. It took multiple tries to drop the frame and lighten the sub to let it start to ascend, but it worked and Titan started to rise. Then, at 9:38 AM, after an hour and 46 minutes, the sub reported a crackling sound at aft. An unexpected noise was coming from the back of the Titan's hull, the opposite end to where the explorers would have peered out the front viewport for their first view of Titanic. The sub was unable to identify the source of the noise. 4 minutes later, the sounds had subsided, but Titan's ascent was making very slow progress. Nobody knew why. The global real-time monitoring warning alert button was now showing red. The submersible was hovering at a depth of 3,476 meters. By now, the engineer on the Polar Prince, who we're not naming in this report, was calmly but specifically asking repeatedly for a status report, what the sub's depth was, the wattage on the upwards thrust, and the velocity of ascent. Then, at 9:46 AM, more sounds started to be heard at the rear of the sub. "Reading red on the A power bus. I switched to B at 3,457 meters. More sounds aft," Titan reported home. The sub had now been underwater for 1 hour and 54 minutes. It was the last communication the men on the Titan submersible ever sent. Hamish Harding, Shahzada Dawood, Suleiman Dawood, Paul-Henri Nargeolet, and Stockton Rush never got to see the Titanic. They reached within 324 meters of the wreck when, seemingly, the Titan submersible suffered a power failure and what sounds like a leaking hull. From the moment the first problem was reported to the Polar Prince at 9:28 AM to the time communications dropped at 9:46, and the explorers must have known they were in serious trouble, took 18 minutes. And here's a full account of the log record of the last dive of Titan on Titanic. Top, clear for descent, enjoy the ride. Sub, descending now. Sub, launch sequence complete. Ready? Top, all clear. Sub, proceeding. Top, enjoy the dive, gentlemen. Top, you're 15 minutes into the dive, current depth. Systems check, please. Sub, systems check complete, all in order. All lights are green. We are 756, proceeding. Top, thank you, proceed. Top, 30 minutes in, update please. Sub, all systems are functioning normally. We're in good shape. Continuing our descent as planned. Top, superb, proceed. Top, over 45-minute mark, current depth, confirm status. Sub, depths at 1934. All systems stable and descent continuing as planned. Happy crew. Top, excellent. Top, you're at the hour mark. Sub, all is smooth sailing here. Top, you are 75 minutes, depth, status. Do you need to adjust velocity? Sub, all under control at 2960. No adjustments needed. We're enjoying the ride. Top, understood. Sub, we're noting an alarm from the RTM. Sub, reducing velocity descent depth 3433. Top, understood. Do you need to ascend? Sub, no change with thrust. The rate of descent is increasing. At 35, going to release the ballast now. Stand by. Top, yes, agree. Release the ballast. Sub, no improvement. Preparing to jettison the frame. Top, affirmative. Update when available. RTM indicator status? Sub, frame jettisoned, multiple attempts needed, but starting the ascent now. Top, multiple attempts? What is your status? RTM indicators? Depth? Top, update please when able. Sub, crackling sound at aft. Top, can you identify source? RTM indicator status? Sub, neg. Top, RTM status? Sub, trying to run diagnostics. Ascending now but very slow. Sounds have subsided. Global RTM alert active, all red. Top, understood. Any codes? Depth? Ascent rate? Top, updates when available please. Sub, slow ascent in progress. Quarter predicted. Unclear why rate is small. No indicator. At 3476, aiming for the surface. Top, we are talking it over with the engineer. Stand by. Top, depth and status please. What's the wattage on upwards thrust? Sub, reading red on the A power bus. I switched to B at 3457M. More sounds aft. Top, understood. Continue ascent. Talking to X about power bus situation right now. Stand by. Top, we are activating recovery procedures. X is requesting wattage output from bus B. Status update please. Velocity of ascent. Top, we're not receiving you. Update please. Top, status and depth report. Top, we need you to respond with status and depth. X is requesting wattage update on thrusters. Top, we are unable to read you. We are moving to recovery coordinates. Report if you read. 095722. Top, please respond if you're able.